The former reality star Spencer Matthews has completed his incredible mission to run 30 marathons in 30 days across the Jordanian desert in gruelling 40-degree heat.
Sometimes more than 40 degrees. He covered 786 miles. He lost just about 2 stone, and he actually broke the world record for the most consecutive marathons ever run on sand. And crossing the finishing line there is what he called the most unforgettable moment of his life so far.
Well, Spencer joins us live from Jordan. Spencer, good morning. I can't honestly, massive congratulations. A huge round of applause. I remember when we spoke to you about it before you set off, and I just thought, I don't even know if this is going to be physically possible. How are you feeling right now at having done it?
I feel phenomenal. I couldn't be more proud of the incredible team that I had with me and of myself in this instance. You know, I came into this with a little bit of doubt. There was, as you say, a bit of skepticism around the reality of success in these conditions. So, you know, our plan went pretty according to plan, and to be able to pull it off and raise such significant funds for charity has been a really memorable experience in my life.
I want to know what was going through your head when the alarm went off on the morning when you did the first run, when you did the first marathon. You woke up and thought, oh, OK, the day has arrived, here we go. How did you feel?
The anticipation of that day was quite something. I slept for just under 2 hours that night because I just simply couldn't get to sleep. I was so excited. I felt quite a lot of pressure as well for this particular challenge to succeed, because obviously it was relatively well publicized at the time, or maybe that's just in my own head. And you know, there was a big fundraise attached to it, and obviously we had raised money from brands to support the actual logistics of the challenge, and so that there was a lot riding on it, you know. When I first, and I was aware as well that the majority of the fundraise would probably come in the later days. So that first day, getting that ticked off was a huge milestone, even though it was just the first one. I had niggles in my knees and all kinds of stuff. You know, I'd tapered off my big training block, and for whatever reason, even though I was incredibly prepared, felt you know, I suppose a little bit underprepared almost, you know, because the tape is often something that people don't love, you know, just before starting a big challenge. But no, I didn't feel that comfortable. GPS wasn't working that day either. The local area had been blocked and scrambled, so it was showing us as being in Cairo, even though we were obviously nowhere near Cairo. And so it was just a lot to handle that first day, actually. But we got through it and cracked on, and they started to, you know, become a bit smoother as time went on. I broke it into chunks of 10, really. The first 10 were quite exciting. The second 10 were, I was wondering why I hadn't set myself just 10. and then the last 10 were the last 10. Yeah. The whole experience was a really humbling experience. And I just couldn't be more delighted that we were successful in the end.
So good. I mean, and at the time, how tough did it feel? Because I suppose you were able to prepare for things like the lots of running factor, weren't you? But you were running in heat at the same time. But there was also the danger, wasn't there? And I know your wife, Vogue, was very worried about how dangerous it could be for you.
Yeah, I think she was initially quite worried. I was able to, you know, talk to her about controlling the controllables, being with, you know, a very professional team without whom this wouldn't have been possible. So big shout out and praise to them, you know, thank goodness for them. But Vogue as well, you know, staying home and running the family, looking after our 3 young kids the entire time I was away. It was a challenge in itself for her as well. I'll always be thankful for her for allowing me essentially to chase this dream. While she, you know, did all that back at home. I mean, incredible stuff from her as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, this challenge really came in 2 halves. There was the running of the marathons, obviously, that was physically challenging, but then also just existing in camp where we were, which I hadn't really accounted for, was pretty rough. You know, we slept on the ground every day. There was no running water. There's no toilets, no access to cold drinking water. You know, couldn't even wash your hands if you felt like it. At times, you'd have to use, you know, warm bottled water and stuff. There's just no real comfort in which to recover. So it took away the elements of being able to start each day perfectly. Sometimes you'd get 2-3 hours sleep, and have to do it all again. So again, very thankful for the level of support, and also from people back at home. I mean, the online support and the coverage that this is receiving now, I'm just really humbled by it all. I think it's quite overwhelming, actually, just how much support this is receiving. So to anyone who's paid attention to this or in any way been moved by it, I can't thank you enough. So thank you.
I think what most people are most impressed by is not so much your physical toughness, it's your mental toughness to get through it. I mean, there's that famous historical quote, isn't there, that says, "We are not interested in the possibilities of defeat. For us, they do not exist." And that must have been very much that kind of attitude in your mind, particularly, as you say, in the second set of 10, as you're pounding through the 40-degree heat. You're only halfway through. You must have had to give yourself some pretty stiff talkings to from time to time to keep the faith.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a wonderful quote, and thanks for bringing it up. It's it just became the reality when you're there. We had a very well thought through plan that we tried to execute on a daily basis. We tried not to change the winning formula that we discovered quite early on, and yeah, as you say, it was tougher at times than at others. Worth mentioning as well that Jordan's can be an incredibly beautiful place. The Wadi Rum Desert in particular is spectacular. So I actually felt quite privileged at times to be able to run there. We went through some private parts as well of the desert that we needed prior clearance for, and it was an incredibly memorable experience. But the reality of it is, when you're in it, you're in it, and yes. you buckle down and you get on with it. The more sorry you feel for yourself, the slower time will pass. And there were times when obviously you would wish the time to go a bit faster. Of course. When you were sat in a fly-infested camp, boiling hot.
I wish our time would go a bit slower so we'd have more time, but we're out of time to talk to you now.
But a massive congratulations.
You did it.
And you raised a lot of money for charity. Well done you. Have a well-earned rest now. Thanks so much for joining us.
Okie dokie.
Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you.
It's great to talk to you. Congratulations. Brilliant.